Uliton ra.
Welcome to Sari Talks, the show that serves you juicy talks and fresh thoughts. I am Melanie Dublan.
And I am Juan Ramos. And for today's episode, we're gonna talk about literature of region with our guests.
We also have special guests at the end of the show, so make sure to listen and watch all the way through. You know what, Mr. Ramos, I really love our theme in Sari Talks.
Yeah, it's gonna take me back to the old days. When we were a kid, we used to play and buy in Sari store. Do you remember that?
Yes, I also went to Sari stores. You know, my friends and I used to spend our time. We have our chicas in Sari stores. In the Philippines, there are lots of Sari stores.
Yeah.
Actually, it was called Tambayan ng Bayan, you know?
Yes, and I remember when I was a teenager, I used to drink, I used to buy alcohol in Sari store, and there's a lot of them.
Okay, so much for that. Wag na natin pahabain pa.
Now, it's time to welcome our guest, Rian Cordova,
Sea Gomez,
Larry Santiago too.
Sari Talk.
They are here to provide expertise and answer our questions.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Nice to see you guys.
It's our pleasure to be here.
Thank you for having us today.
And thank you for guesting us because this is our first time actually.
Wow, it's such a privilege. Thank you.
Okay. I really like your theme for today. It brings me back to
There's
my
a cake in the
childhood
table, and
where I
every
still
piece of the
buy
cake is
lots of tingles before. And I cry if I didn't
one
get one.
piece
So
of
yeah,
it.
that's kind of
And
Well,
share
feel free
your
to pick
knowledge
any
about
of those
the
food if you
literature
like.
in the region that you have picked.
And
Are you
I'm so
ready?
excited in this podcast, guys.
We're born ready.
Oh wow, that's the spirit.
That's the
Twist.
spirit.
Well, let's see. I don't really feel like choosing first, so you do it.
Do the honor, Miss Laris, please.
Okay, so for I'll choose this slice, which is the region 1 from Ilocos region.
One bite. Thanks.
And as for the author, I'll go for Carlos Bulusan.
Well, so Miss Lariz, who is Carlos Veloso? In your own opinion.
Carlos Bulusan is a English language Filipino novelist and a poet who spends most of his time in United States. His best known work is the novel which is entitled Americas in the Heart. Is in the Heart. And also, Carlos Bulusan rose from a poverty to become a labor movement activist and a literary voice of Filipino and Americans. And also, the novel that he wrote, which is entitled "The Americas is in the Heart," is dedicated to the what you call this
Filipino workers, right?
yeah, Filipino immigrant workers who experience and tried harder to earn living in America.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, thank you so
was
much
great.
for that. Carlos, what is
Carlos
Bulusan.
Bulusan.
Okay, next, let's proceed.
So I would like to choose Mimaropa region. So let me take a bite first.
The cake looks so yummy.
Yeah, you want some?
Later.
Later, okay.
Hey, I have a bunch of
So in Mimaropa region, in Mindoro actually, there's a traditional poetry called Tambahan. It's like a Filipino tanaga which also contains 7 syllables, and mainly its themes is all about nature, that life, love, and relationships. And I would also like to add that when you listen to it, you can feel the humility and beauty. It is like a haiku-like imagery, and also has its, if we compare it to Western, a Dickinson simplicity. And also, belonging to Mimaropa region, we have Paz Laterona. She is a writer, and also she's a teacher. And one of her works that is known is Dead Stars, published in 1952. And it tackles about, or it is about like an allegory of American imperialism, which is shown there that the Philippine heritage is decaying, since when the Americans came here, our culture is not that it's not actually super preserved, but with a mix na with American culture. And I guess that's all I can say about Mimaropa region. So let's go to I still wanna choose, so later na Korean.
You know what? I really love their relationship right here.
Okay, so I'm gonna take about another one. Here in Cordillera Administrative Region. Well, actually, there's not that much authors that I found in Cordillera. It's kind of more on oral tradition. Their epics, it is done orally, like the hudhud. And also, it is performed during a wake of someone that is known in their place. Also, the wedding of the women during the walk in the rice. And what, I don't know if I still remember it correctly, but it is again still gonna tackle about reality siguro, about their cultures there.
Culture.
Yeah.
Okay, since Miss Gomez done sharing her knowledge about the specific region she has chose. Okay, let's proceed to who's next. Who'd like to share? Oh,
Miss Larissa.
Okay, so the region that I'll choose is Region 2 from Cagayan Valley. Okay? I'll just say bye-bye. So for the author, it is Emmanuel Agato Flores Lacaba. Eman Lacaba was a poet who searched for meaning and relevance in his art and life. He discovered this in the midst of Filipino masses. Lacaba wrote a what you call this, a song which is entitled Awit ni Kuala, that is sung by Lolita Rodriguez. During in a classic of Lino Broca, I forgot, but I think basta it's Lino Broca. Okay. And also he also composed some Cebuano poetry. Some of them is from a folk songs. So yeah,
Thank you.
that's all. Next.
next is thank you so much, Miss Santiago. Okay, let's proceed.
So next.
Let's go to NCR, the National Capital Region.
Okay.
Okay, what we have here in NCR? Oh, okay. Remember. Luwalhati Bautista. I will have Luwalhati Bautista.
What can you share about the person?
She is a writer, of course, novelist, liberal activist, and a political critic. Her most known work was Gapo, the novels. Also, Dekada 70, familiar?
Yes.
Yes.
And
very familiar.
Bata, Paano Ka Ginawa?
Yeah, familiar.
That novels, Dekada 70 and Bata, Paano Ka Ginawa, I think there's a film adaptation. And most of her work explores themes like feminism and also social-political issues. Okay, let me take a bite again.
Take your time.
I really like your cake.
So, who
There
will
we
be
go.
the next? I think it's your turn again, Miss Laris.
Yes, so for the next region or author that we will discuss is from the region 3, Central Luzon. Okay.
Seems interesting.
So the author here in region 3 is Francisco Balagtas. So Francisco Balagtas is also known as Francisco Baltazar. Any idea?
I think he is one of the greatest poet here in the Philippines.
Yes, he is because of its impact in Filipino literature. Also, do you know any epic work that Francisco Baltazar made?
I think it's the Rante at Laura.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
discussed
yeah.
way back.
Oh,
in
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, it's Fleur at Laura. It is released during 1838. And also, there is a debate form in Filipino that is called Balagtasan. Balagtasan is named after by the surname of Francisco, which is Balagtas. So, next. Who's next?
What's next?
It's your turn.
So I guess the long wait is over for Miss Rian. It's your turn, Miss Rian.
It's your final turn.
Okay. The region that I'm going to pick is Region 9. And yeah. And wait. The author that I'm going to pick is Emilio Alvarez Enriquez. He is an author from Zamboanga City, Philippines. And his famous works are The Devil Flower, written in 1959, and The Doll, written in 1953. And he is better
Known
Known
as
as-
Mig, right?
Oh yes, he is better known as me.
Okay, that was from Rian, the region Zamboanga. What?
That's good.
Region 9. So it's my turn now. And I'm gonna
Which one
choose
would you like to pick?
Choose wisely.
Region 8. Let's go to Region 8, guys.
Okay.
Okay, Caraga. And the author is later na. I'm gonna eat it later. So let's just go with Joey Ayala. He is known for his songs that has message to improve the environment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was nice of him to write songs that gives messages to the people to take care of our environment. And also, he's one of the finalists in the Phil Pop 2013 with his song Papel, which talk about how our life starts and ends with a paper, the death and birth certificate. That would be all for Caraga. So take it away.
By the way, can I ask a question?
What?
Is he still alive?
I think so. It's still breathing.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it's still alive.
I think it's your time to shine again, Miss Laris.
Yeah, so for the next region that we will discuss again is from Region 4A, Calabarzon. So in Calabarzon, the author here is NVM Gonzalez. NVM Gonzalez is considered or proclaimed as the national artist of the Philippines during 1997. And also, because he is a national artist, of course, he was born in libingan ng mga bayani. Yes. And also, his work was published in English, Filipino, Chinese, also German, Russian, and Indonesian language. And there are works that I remembered. I remembered 3 novels, which are the Wind of April, A Season of Change, and last is The Bamboo Dancers. So NVM Gonzalez was revered for preserving the Filipino culture's roots. Yes, Filipino culture roots, and because of he was considered, it's because of his short stories and also his other writings that is translated in several languages.
Ooh,
Yeah,
amazing.
isn't it great?
Yes. It's amazing.
Yes. Yes. Next.
Okay, next one. Thank you for that. That was quite interesting. You want to be buried in
Libingan ng mga
libingan yung mga bayani?
Maybe.
But anyway,
So, what will be next?
well, I guess it's now my turn to sneak.
Maybe.
Yes, it's your turn, Miss.
Oh, I
Miss
thought
Gomez.
it was my turn to speak. Okay.
So, I'll take the lead.
I'm sorry, and but I still wanna speak. So yeah.
Okay. Just
I'm
go.
gonna talk about Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao. And here we go. Patricio Diaz is mostly known in his name is his nickname Pat Diaz. He was a former newspaper editor, and he has a lot of works that tackles mostly about
Muslims.
Mindanao. Oh yeah, Muslims. Yes. And it is more of like he wants to talk about the problems in Mindanao and why is it unresolved, because he believed that it was misunderstood, and yeah, a lot of his works reflects that theme. Okay, it's your turn now. You can choose.
Miss Ria.
Finally.
Time to shine.
Thank you. It's my turn. Okay, the region that I'm going to choose is Region 10, Northern Mindanao.
Okay.
Take a big bite.
No, just a small bite. So I can speak. And the author that I'm going to pick is Jose Maria Flores Lacaba Jr. He is a screenwriter, a poet, and a journalist. And one of his famous work is, you know that?
Oh, and his influential work was the poem titled Prometheus and Bob.
Oh yeah, that one.
That one.
Yeah,
Familiar.
Oh, very familiar, right?
Okay, since you're done, it's my turn now. I'm gonna pick Region 12, Saxargen. So, Elena G. Makiso, she has significant contributions in the Filipino Church, and specifically United Church of Christ in the Philippines, the UCCP. Also, she has published hymn texts and tunes in the East Asia Conference, Christian Conference,
Yes,
in the
East
East
Asia
Asian Conference. One of the hymn tunes that I have known was the Magdalena. Also, there is another
Familiar.
Halad and Bilaan
Can I
and
ask?
Remedya. What?
Is it a Bisaya? Bisaya.
It's from Mindanao, so I think.
I'm not sure, but I think it is in our.
I see.
Okay.
Next.
What?
Rian, your turn. Oh,
It's your turn again.
Oh my goodness, my turn again. The region that I'm going to choose, number 3, is Davao region. I'm not going to eat any cake.
Let
Why?
me eat your.
what?
Wait.
Oh my God.
Where is it?
And the author that I'm going to pick is Saturnino or Satur P. Apoyo.
Apoyo.
Oh yes, he is a prolific writer in the Binisayaang Sinubuanong language. So his body of works includes 65 short stories, 4 serialized novels, 57 poems, and countless articles, comics, and jokes. He received first prize in the Bathalad, I think it is Bathalad, Mindanao. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Miss Gomez, Miss Cordova, and Miss Santiago for that very meaningful content.
That was an interesting conversation,
We
guys.
learned a lot.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you also, thank you.
And now the most awaited guest and our special guest in our podcast or in today's episode, no other than Mr. Francis Gutierrez, and he is representing his heritage. I'm so excited.
Thank you for inviting me here. So, let me introduce to you to my
What's that?
coconut wine, or in our local term, we call it tuba.
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 Tuba in Bisaya, it was like a coconut wine, and
Wow.
for me, it is a, I think in history, the Spanish and the local Visayans have discovered it from the coconut, I think it's from the coconut fruit that we call it tungog.
Oh,
Yeah, and it has many health benefits like it cleanses our body from toxins. They say that they clean our intestines also.
Oh wow.
Is that true?
Yes.
I should try
That's
it.
why when you try this at night, in the next morning you have a shaky germs.
That's so interesting.
Okay.
You want to try it? I'm
Yeah,
sure
maybe.
you will.
Shaky something.
What do you call it? Is that a coconut wine? Wine?
Coconut wine or tuba in
Tuba.
It sounds interesting.
Uh,
Hey, guys.
since I represent one of our trademarks in Visaya, I also wanted to highlight my T-shirt. For me, because I made this type of T-shirt because its design was based on the pintados tattoo of the early Filipinos. When the Spanish have conquered the Philippines, they were shocked at the first time they met the locals because it was they have many tattoos in their skin. That's why they call them pintados, especially in Waray and Eastern
In
Visayas.
Tacloban, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why we have a bus here in
Yes.
we call it pintados,
Pintados.
because it represents the Eastern Visayas. So since we talk about represents
Hey, wait a minute. I will go get some glass and
Wine.
I will try that wine.
Oh,
right?
sure.
So guys,
wait, you have a glass here.
no, I don't
Oh, you
want
don't
that.
want
So
that.
you guys just continue talking here. and
Okay,
I will be right
It's like
back.
it's like you're wearing your heritage actually.
Yeah, I'm proud
That's
to
all.
I'm proud to represent my heritage because for me, Visayas were outlooked by the mainland Tagalogs, and I think it is the time to bring up the Visaya.
Hey guys, I'm back.
That's so huge.
Yeah, I will try. Can you pause them? Hey, by the way, just keep talking. Don't mind.
I really like your shirt.
It,
I want to have
there are
one.
many designs in internet. You can,
Wow!
you can see it many.
It looks
Try it.
dirty.
Try it.
Let's try it. It
The
tastes
color
good,
is very
right?
interesting.
Try it.
Di kalidad.
You speak Bisaya.
So,
So now I showed the trademarks of our culture. Now I have to bring up also my literature in our region, especially in different regions in Visayas, like the western, the eastern Visayas, and the central Visayas. So also in the Bicol region. So let me join your cake party.
yes.
So I'm gonna take the Bicol region first.
Wanna
Let
try?
me just move this
No,
away.
thanks.
Why?
Maybe
I'll just take a
later.
bite. I wanna taste the cake.
What kind of cake?
Different.
Chiffon.
The chiffon cake.
This one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
You're gonna talk about
you're gonna talk about Ernesto Jun Pesimo. For me, he was one of the best Bicolano writers or poets because during, do you remember the Typhoon Yolanda?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Typhoon Ondoy.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's destructive.
Typhoon Yolanda was destructive, but its disastrous force was about the more of a wind. But in Ondoy, it was the rainfall.
Yes, the rainfall.
So, Ernesto Jun Pesimo made a book or a poetry book named Bagyo sa Oktubre. And it is not just about the Ondoy because there's also a big or a huge destructive typhoon at that time. So he fused that idea because at that month in 2009 in October, it is very hard to live in this place, especially in some
the
of it,
areas?
in the urban areas of the Luzon, because there are many floods, many are starving. So it is very acknowledging. His works are very acknowledging, and I like him and I love him. I love him for bringing up that, and he even have an award in a magazine, and that novel Bagyo sa October was being featured in the magazine, and he deserved that. So
Seems interesting.
I have two Bicolano poets, and first is Ernesto Pesimo. Now we have Jose Jason Chancoco. Though he was not that famous as same as Ernesto, but since he was one of the Bicolano who represent their region in terms of literature, he was one of the poets who also contributed to bring up their to show their culture, and even their let's say this, their
Through his works.
Tradition?
Experiences. No?
Their everyday life or something.
they're in Bicol, like their
practices.
their talents,
More of like their talents.
they also prove that
That
Bicolanos are also talented, and
That they can also share something.
like especially in literature.
Oh,
And one of his works is Pagsasatubuanan, and it was one of the most popular poetry books in Bicol. If I think if you're a Bicolano and you didn't know the Pagsasatubuanan, it's like a
You're
form-
missing
You're missing a lot.
important.
So let's go to the Western Visayas, the Region 6. So in Western Visayas, there are three there are three languages or dialects in Western Visayas, and I think it is a branch of Bisaya, though they have their own description as a language. I think they were also a branch of Bisaya, same as in Waray. Diba? They thought that some says that Waray is a branch of is just a branch of a Visayan language. So in Western Visayas we have the Kinaraya, the Kinaraya, Hiligaynon, and the Kapisnon or Aklanon Bisaya. So right now I only have Peter Solis Neri in Iloilo, and he is one of the Hiligaynon writers. He was one of the legendary Hiligaynon writer. I think it is about on his contribution, because during the same as in Bautista, who does it? Bautista.
Luwalhati Bautista.
Oh, Luwalhati Bautista. Peter Solis Neri also participated the EDSA revolution through his writing, and I can't remember his works. I think it is mga ambuhanan kag pangamuyo sa sang bata nga nalamtan. Sorry, I can see it, so I have to read it. So I have to clarify it. Sorry. Mga ambahanon kag pangamuyo sang bata nga nalimtan sa wayang. I don't know what it means, but I think it is about the youth at that time during the martial law, or the people's resistance during the martial law, and it is about the cruelty of that time during the hold of the military power. And I think it is very influential, because he was one of the primary Ilonggo who raised their standards in writing, and he also proved that Ilonggos are not just malambing. They are also brave. They are also fierce.
They can also fight.
They can also fight, and they can also represent their culture, their own language, and their own literature. So now, since we are done in Hiligaynon, now I have to represent John Iramil Chodoro. He was one of the LGBTQ pride. He represents the LGBTQ. One of his works is called Pangmuni-muni at Pagtalak ng Serenang Nagpanggap na Prinsesa. I think it is about being gay or being bisexual, and I think he has a book, a very interesting book, a very interesting title. It has a very interesting title. Banak siya yung hero, very interesting title. So
I'm really eyeing on that since the beginning. Okay, thank you.
I can't remember the title, but it says that I think the title was about if I have 100 million, would I buy many men? I can't remember it, but it is something like that. Like how can the LGBTQs can be accepted in the community, especially the gays? Like, is it the gender? Is it really the gender who sets the boundary, or is it just the
society standards,
the needs? Because
yes, the
many
needs.
men who pretend to dislike the gays, but in terms of money, they also they show the hypocrisy. So I really like John Iramil Chodoro. So right now we will
Kasama sa Biki. Salata na tatanan. Na-trigger na po. Kasama na si LP.
So now we are in in Central Visayas. Central Visayas is composed of I think four islands. The Negros Occidental, I think, the Cebu, and Bohol and Siquijor. So, but now since Cebu was the most famous among them, the Cebuano writer, I have many Cebuano writers here. I think his Puerto Alaura, and his famous works are Usaka Hataas na Gabi, and now we're done in Western Visayas. So we will go to the Region 7, the Central Visayas. So Central Visayas was composed of Negros, Cebu, and Siquijor and Bohol. So I have a representative here. He's from Cebu, since Cebu was the famous province there. Roberto Alaura. He was famous Cebuano writer who wrote the Usaka Hataas na Gabi, and that poem was about I think it's about love and about the human principles. It offers that it shows or it proves that even in our local language in Bisaya, we can also slay writings. We can also slay in literature, and we are not Philippine literature is not just about the dominance of the Tagalog literature, because we admit that Tagalogs are very poetic, and, but Cebuano can offer something too, and you might fell in love with it. So
Actually, all the regions, also in
not
Mindanao.
not just in Visayas, especially in Mindanao.
They can offer so much.
So we're done in Central Visayas, so we have to go to the land of my origin, the Eastern Visayas. So in Eastern Visayas, there are two islands, probably the famous islands, Samar and Leyte, and the languages spoke there was Waray and Bisaya. And I have to share trivia or I think facts about Leyte. And Leyte, I think it is very the dialects in Leyte are very there are many dialects in Leyte.
Distinctions.
There are many,
Yes.
like here in Maasen, they I think they adapted it from the Boholano. Kabajo.
Also,
Like,
Ajo.
there was like
Ajo.
saying that
Ajo.
ninja, like patay
ninja.
ninja.
Yeah. It is. I think it is from the migration of the different from different islands. Even me, I'm not from Maasin, but I'm from Saint Bernard. In Saint Bernard, we also adapted the Boholano language, the Kabajo. Yeah. But when you go to many towns like San Juan, they also adopted many languages and dialects. They adapted the Surigao-non, Bisaya, and in Hinunangan they adapted the Hiligay-non. That's why they are very malambing. They are very much. And not just in southern Leyte, we should also go to the share of the cultures of the Waray and Bisaya, because it is a proof that Waray might be a branch of Bisaya, because they also have that words in Bisaya that is present in Waray. Yeah. We can also understand Waray, but we can not fully understand it. We can understand just a little bit. So it might be a Bisaya. So I'm very amazed on my heritage, because it was blended, or it is mixed with different dialects, and it is very rich because you can see the different cultures. Like like living in
Different styles.
just living in Leyte was like living in Visayas because you can see Surigaonons.
Yeah.
You can also see Hiligaynon, Boholanos. Yeah. So that's why Leyte was the land of. It was the mirror of Visayas. It was the mirror of our cultures. So speaking of representing culture, I have Timothy R. Montes, though he was not a Visaya, and it is my duty to also represent the Waray. So he was born in Samar, and he was one of the greatest Samarnon or the Waray writers, and it is said that his name was in the list of the best Waraynon writers in Visayas. So yeah, I'm done with representing my the fellow Visayan writers, and I'm so glad that I have this opportunity to represent it. Thanks to this
Sari talk.
Sari Talk. I really like it because Sari store. It is not just in Luzon or in Manila. We also have this in Visayas and Mindanao. So,
All around the Philippines, we have that.
that's why even though we have different dialects, language, and ethnicities, we were connected. We were united by the Sari store. We were united by not just the Sari store, but we were united by stories because the stories of like chismes, even though chismes got chikas, the news. So I'm very very flattered to be in here. So
Thank you so
for the
much,
opportunity.
Mr. Teachers. Can you teach us some of the dialects in your hometown or
in I don't know in I think you already know the Boholano enough. So in my nearby town in San Juan, they adapted the Surigao language. So they used to say waya.
oh, what's waya?
Waya is wala.
Oh,
Then,
amazing.
and
Waya.
when they say ra or lang in Tagalog, they say rakan. Rakan, like waya rakan. Waya rakan.
Wala lang.
Oh. And it is very, when you're a Boholano, when you adopted the Boholano way of speaking, it is very thick. And when you adopted it, and when you heard the Surigaonon language, it is very strange because one of the funniest moments was me seeing these two kids, like they were arguing. I think they were brothers, and they say that, papalit o buyad. What's buyad? Buyad. Well, what's buyad? I know that it's later that I know that it is buwad.
Dry fish.
And one of my classmates there also said that, hala, naituyo sa bayong bong. Tuyo?
Tuko.
No, it is to or tulo.
Oh my God.
Ayun,
So yung bong is roof, the roof.
That's why
Oh, okay, okay.
in our region in Pacific, in Southern Leyte, there are many quarrels or there are many discrimination with different languages. We often tease the Hinunangnon with their malambing style of saying,
Example.
like, nausa naman mo man. Wata mo di sa mga tikals ba? Tikals were like they were like you were cocky or you were
Ambog.
hambog in Visaya.
Oh.
That, I was amazed in this. I was amazed in this area because you can see that you can see the reflection of the past that they try to blend with different. They try to
communicate,
evolve.
yes, to communicate, they also try to learn other
That's why
languages or dialects.
it's very rich. Very language in Leyte was very rich.
Yes, exactly. I was so amazed. What are you?
Thank you for that. It was really
thank you also.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
it was a
opportunity.
very
It was fun.
It was fun to you.
the content we have now is more and more meaningful.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't expect that
deeper.
so
It's
much
the deeper,
information.
you know.
Yes.
Yeah, we just have to understand the language.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Maybe
much.
someday you give us some shirt.
What? What?
Shirt.
Shirt.
Maybe you can,
I just have few, but if you requested to, then why not?
Okay. So,
So I guess that's it.
That's it.
That's it, huh?
Thank you so much. Ladies, we can try the wine. So we can taste it if you like.
okay.
Let's cheers. I think we have to cheers for this.
Yes.
Cheers for this. You have to.
I have
Go
a
get your glass.
I don't have my glasses.
No exception.
Good. I can
But I
get
have
it
my
to you.
tumbler.
Sige. Oh,
I
you
can
can
get
bring
another
those.
glass, you know.
You can bring those into back.
We just used
Give
this.
me some glasses, Steve.
Wait. Thanks for watching Sari Talks, guys.
Before we go, please leave us a thumbs up and please stay tuned for the next episode. We will be exploring this literature in Spanish era. Thank you.
Sige. This deserves a toast. Okay.
Yay!